Hello everyone, welcome back to Marvel Mania. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Eric.
And I'm Sarah.
And look, it's Sarah. And Sarah is here to help us talk about and watch Ghost Rider.
And eat popcorn. Not
because Sarah's like a big, massive Ghost Rider fan or knows this movie super well, just because she wanted to be on one of these, and this was the next one we happened to be doing. So here we are in our living room, and we're going to watch Ghost Rider. And Eric is real excited because, as I mentioned last time, this features Eric's favorite actor of all time, Nicolas Cage.
I don't know if he's my favorite actor of all time, but I really like Nicolas Cage.
You bring Nicolas Cage up all the time.
That's because everyone's doing a Nicolas Cage.
It even remotely fits to bring him up, so I like to say that he's your favorite actor of all time.
I like Nicolas Cage a lot.
So, Ghost Rider, here we go, our second and last movie by Mark Steven Johnson. This one, at least, will not include the seam down the middle in a landscape. And, excitingly, we get to actually watch this one.
There's also no Evanescence.
That's true. Yeah, isn't that sad?
We have different feelings on that.
So, anyway, today's show is brought to you by Popcorn. These guys are eating popcorn. I'm not a big popcorn fan, so I'm eating another Hershey bar. So this show is also brought to you by a second Hershey bar. We're going to go ahead and jump straight into it. Sarah, it's been a long time since you've been on any commentary at all.
Yes, it has.
We did some Star Trek a while back, but by a while back, I mean like a couple of years.
Yeah, I've been busy.
So welcome back for Ghost Rider. All right, here we go. If you want to watch it with us, make sure to get out your DVD or Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. Get it to timestamp 0 past all the menus and get ready to press play when I say now. Here we go. Everybody,
this movie looks great in Blu-ray.
Everybody, please press play. Right now.
So the thing about this film is I'm not sure if I ironically like it or if I actually like it.
It's just ironically.
Because I actually like the second one.
That's going to be interesting, because I haven't seen that since the theater. And I only watched it once, and I didn't like it at all.
It's real silly grindhousing.
Yeah, and part of that's not my genre at all.
The way I've always felt about that second movie is that because Nick Cage
We're going to get there.
Nick Cage picks, well, it kind of applies to this one. Nick Cage picks projects, I'm convinced, at this point in his career, based on weak directors. Because they know that he's Nick Cage, and he won't...
Cancel the Ghost Rider.
Yeah, some really cool Ghost Rider shots.
Yeah, neat.
But they won't tell him to rein it in or to stop, because he's Nick Cage. So he can. So I think he intentionally picks projects where they'll just let him do whatever he wants. And that second one, he shows up and does this crazy, insane performance. And I think they built the movie around the performance he showed up to give.
Mm-hmm. You know why he can get away with that? Because he's Nick Cage!
So this is the second Marvel movie with Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
Once again, perfectly
and
cast.
He was right for both roles.
Yep.
And the only person you can imagine, really, for both roles, I think. It's a real nice set you guys built.
So this is all a thing that doesn't really exist in the comics, but Jason Aaron makes in the comics. That there's like a Ghost Rider every generation.
It's like a Slayer.
Does he do that post this, or is
Oh
this
yeah,
based
no, it's
on
after
Aaron
this.
stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know when Aaron comes on.
There's a series that launches right around this movie that's written by Daniel Way. And when Daniel Way leaves, Jason Aaron takes over.
Okay.
And Daniel Way's run is the worst thing ever.
When I did the rewind on this, I found I liked it more than I remembered I did. And I thought I did. It got a straight 2. It was right down the middle. I found it to just be average. But
That's about where this movie belongs, really.
There were some ideas I liked a lot. It has a lot in common with Daredevil, of course.
Yeah.
And
it opens almost exactly the same. Whereas in Daredevil, he drops in the church and he has that monologue and that goes to flashback. Sam Elliott's here. He monologues and then we jump into flashback. Well, I guess forward back because we're going to jump ahead, but it's still young Johnny Blaze.
You know, this is an intro I didn't even think to look at when I did my top 10. But it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I don't think it's as cool as they think it is.
But doing the first-person POV bike thing, that's kind of a cool idea. It might be cooler if we saw the back of the bike.
Yeah,
Like
or
instead of riding it.
Or if the effects that it was riding on looked cooler.
Or if they made a video game based on it, and it was like a motorcycle bike racing game.
Sarah really likes those for some reason.
Oh, they
No,
should
that's
totally.
a great idea. They should have done that.
They should totally make Ghost Riders.
Yeah, and you could be a horse,
Yeah.
and it would make enough sense with this material that your horse could go as fast as your cars and your bikes.
So we talk a lot about this in relation to Robin, where like circuses aren't a thing anymore. Is this far enough back that this is okay? That this is believably something that would have happened?
We still do bike shows. They don't necessarily look like this as much anymore.
But
like,
we do it in
this
carnivals?
is very Evil Knievel.
Yes. There's a lot of Evil Knievel.
This in the South more so. You're looking at this as a carnival because it's a tent.
Well, I'm looking at a carnival because Johnny Blaze is a carny kid.
Yeah, and I guess it is a carnival. I guess I forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying that, like, I could see it like a rodeo.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would be a tent. I haven't seen this in a really long time.
Now that would make sense.
I totally forgot that that was actually inside of a circus.
Well, it's because like one of Johnny Blaze's character traits is that he's a carny. In the comics, like that's a thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting that we're doing this week because they are officially this year shutting down Barnum and Bailey.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Why? Is it just people aren't knowing?
Oh, they've been on the cusp for a couple of decades now.
Interesting. Now Robin really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, especially at this point, because the most major circus operation will be no more.
I think they do a really good job of getting...
He looks like him.
Yeah, I was going to say, they both look like them.
Mm-hmm. They didn't even have to do that silly de-aging thing.
Apparently they do something to his nose. I forget, it's been a long time since I listened to this commentary, but they do something to his nose to make it look more like Nick Cage's nose.
But she waited until after he carved the thing on the tree.
And I imagine they give her the freckle or the...
Because Eva Mendes has it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure they didn't find an actress who looks that much like her and has that.
So, in the comics, this relationship is kind of different. His dad dies, and her dad adopts him because he also works in the carnival. Here, it's more of a like you're lowly carny folk, and my dad doesn't want to be dating you.
TV Flash.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Except instead of dying, he goes to jail. But you know,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So his dad is just this world's Evil Knievel, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe not that famous. Because I don't think Evil Knievel was driving around with carnivals like he was the attraction.
Right. Yeah.
But he's, if nothing else, Evil Knievel is probably popular right now in this moment, and he's doing that thing.
And so he looks like him.
Yeah.
And that's what's popular right then.
I didn't want my kid to see this, but I didn't try that hard to hide it.
Yeah, I think Evil Knievel might have been at the end of his career at this point, because that letter says 86.
Yeah, it's...
And
yeah.
his dad looks like he's in the 70s. So they made him look like Evil Knievel, but it's a little after that.
I like the shot.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Um,
And I like this casting.
yeah, it makes, I mean, you know, obviously Easy Rider. Like he's a motorcycle guy.
Yeah, this is a weird commentary. I don't mean our commentary.
Yeah.
It probably will be. But when you go in and listen to Mark Steven Johnson's commentary, he seems like he really likes motorcycles and he likes biker movies, and he talks about a bunch of stuff that I don't know anything about. And I feel like I was the wrong audience for that. I mean, I learned a lot at the time that I'm sure is no longer in my brain.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that in a while. If there's any major complaint with this movie, it's that this should be the movie. Like, this actor's kind of better than Nick Cage in, like, playing this movie straight. Because Nick Cage isn't traditional in this movie.
Yeah.
We'll talk about when we get to Nick Cage, but he's not giving the performance you thought you were going to go see when you saw a Ghost Rider movie. This opening is kind of the tone of what I wish the whole movie was. If I'm playing on my critical brain and not my enjoying brain.
Yeah, and you'd love to see him in more of it and be the main bad guy, but you also can kind of understand, well, he's Satan and he's more in the background.
Yeah.
I should mention, I don't know jack for anything about Ghost Rider in the comics. That is not a thing I have looked into at all. He pops in and out of things I've read, but...
My favorite thing about Satan in the Ghost Rider comics is that you have Damien Hellstrom, who is son of Satan. You know, that great hero, son of Satan. And and you have Ghost Rider. And when Ghost Rider makes the deal, it's with Satan. And you have these early issues with Damien Hellstrom and Ghost Rider where they're crossing over and they're both looking for Satan. And then Marvel decides not to have Satan because they're getting backlash from, like, Christians. So Damien Hellstrom, they decide Satan is a character that they create, and in Ghost Rider they decide Satan is a character they create, so they were both looking for Satan, but they were two completely different characters. It's Mephisto's Ghost Rider. I forget who Damien Hellstrom's Satan was, but yep, two completely different people that were just going by the name Satan.
That's hilarious.
I don't like this. He didn't sign it. That feels like it's a cop-out so that he doesn't have to actually have signed his soul away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be of your own accord, so if he in any way forces you, it seems like it shouldn't count.
Yeah.
Whereas Al Simmons just goes, yes, I want to see Wanda! And he's like, wait, what did I just agree to? I have amnesia. I don't even remember making this. Do you remember this at all?
Yeah. I remember bits and pieces of it. I remember
Young Johnny Blaze looking right into the camera.
I remember more that stuff happened and not necessarily the purpose behind it or the details of it.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's real complex and intricate, this movie.
Yeah.
I don't like that fall, because the rings are on fire, so I feel like if you fell in the middle, you would fall not in fire.
Okay, it's funny you say that because if memory serves from the commentary,
Somebody
that
else,
actually happened.
Yeah,
and that's the fall they used, and they asked the stuntman for permission, and he was like, "Well, yeah, you got to use the one where I fell and hurt myself."
From what I understand,
because we've like I don't want it to go to waste. It's got to amount to something.
if I've learned anything from movie commentaries, it's that stuntmen are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you always hear about how, like, they almost die, and the first thing they say when they regain consciousness is, "Did you get the shot?"
Yeah. Can we use it?
Yeah. And this is... Somehow, Mark Steven Johnson is able to make more sense than One More Day in Spider-Man. Because Mephisto came to Spider-Man and made a deal to save Aunt May's life, and she's fine. Giant Blaze, he's like, "Yeah, I'll save your dad from cancer." He dies a different way. Is this too literal, or is this, at least at this point, is this film mythic enough to do this? That he is literally at a crossroads?
See, if you did it in a comic panel, you wouldn't even question it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this movie's all about pointing?
And that's why, yeah. And that's why I want to say, sure. That's
I like it. Like, it's... I don't know, it's kind of mythic and Western.
It's already an over-the-top enough movie. I like the word mythic. I think you're right about that.
You're a more famous actor.
One thing Johnson is certainly okay at, I think, is going a little stylized and letting you know right out the gate you're not watching a realistic movie.
Yeah.
And that's why you're able to get away with more of those kinds of things.
Yeah. So one of the things that Johnson talks about in the commentary, because we're just going to talk about the commentary of this whole commentary,
sure.
is that his biggest problem writing the script is figuring out what to do with Ghost Rider. Like, what is he? Because, like, this whole, like, the Devil's Bounty Hunter thing, that's not a comic book thing. In the comics, it is just... Mephisto comes to take his soul, and Roxanne actually shows up and with, like, the Bible and, like, with purity, like, casts Mephisto away. And Mephisto's punishment is, at night, you're going to turn into a flaming skull. Like, that's just punishment somehow. And then later you'll find out that he's a demon called Zarathos, and it's a whole thing. Ghost Rider mythology
I guess
is
you have to
not
go around
simple.
judging other people. Like, your penance is...
There is no penance. It is
there's
just
no penance in that?
No, there is just you get a skull head at night.
But when does the penance dare come in?
Oh, that's Dan Ketch. That's not till the 90s. That's Ghost Rider 2.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And that's also where we get the motorcycle, not the exact motorcycle, but what we'll use here, which is the motorcycle with the flame wheels, which is way less cool than what Johnny Blaze has in his comics, which is a motorcycle made entirely of flames. And we never use that. Even in the comics, we don't go back to that.
You think that would be what you do with it?
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's funny because we just watched Fantastic Four, and it's got a stunt bike thing in it. So I'm just expecting Johnny Storm to show up and hang out with Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
Johnny's and motorcycles.
Yep.
Johnny's and motorcycles and being able to set yourself on fire and not be hurt.
Yeah.
And go really fast or fly around or both.
I do wonder, even when this comes out in 2007, if this aesthetic is too dated. Of just like the flames, like it still looks 70s. I mean, the suit is very the actual like fabric and how it's made is more modern, but
yeah, if
the
it's
style
just his
of it
personal style and not everybody else is doing it, like I can
Yeah.
kind of see it, especially if it's a legacy thing.
Yeah.
Because everybody would know who his dad is.
Yeah.
So that's okay. No, it was that drop.
That's
the drop.
Yeah, that's drop or
And they put it in slow motion, and you're actually
the bike
seeing
actually
that
hits
guy
him. Yep.
get hurt. Yeah. And he made it. He lived. He was fine.
Yeah.
I'm sure he did stunt work after that.
Yep.
That was the one. And it looks good because it actually happened. And there's Donald Logan again.
Yep. The best friend a man could have.
That's right. Whether he's a vampire or
an alcoholic cop.
An alcoholic Gotham cop, yeah. Is the bike okay? I'd love it if that's what the stuntman said.
Yeah.
So that's the guy who plays Harvey Bullock in Gotham. And he's a vampire in Blade.
That's awesome.
That we just love every time he's on screen.
Yeah.
And what he does
Yep.
is great.
He has a whole TV show called Terriers that I'm a big fan of. I really like it. I only got one season, but he's great. I watched his sitcom.
You know, I think a really good video, maybe I'll do this at some point, I think a really good video of just Harvey Bullock moments in Gotham.
Yeah.
Good work. That would be your previously on Gotham, it's nothing but Bullock.
I think this is amusing. I believe he's playing like a Johnny Blaze video game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, this is the beginning of a really weird choice that Nick Cage made on this movie.
The jelly bean thing.
It's not just the jelly bean thing. It's everything he does. The idea that Nick Cage has for this character is, if at any moment the devil could come for you, you would live every day like it's the last day of your life, and you wouldn't live like alcoholic and depressed, like waiting for the day to come. You would live like a child. You would just engross yourself in like fun, silly things because this could be the last day. So instead of drinking, he's eating jelly beans. He's watching stupid monkey videos. It's a choice.
It kind of comes off. I think it kind of came off to a lot of people like he was just quirky and eccentric. I think people didn't get that that's what it was supposed to be. It's almost a thing you have to talk about.
Yeah,
I say that, but that is a thing I think you have to make more explicit.
Yeah, and I think if they did, people wouldn't make fun of that stuff as much because it is an interesting choice.
Yeah,
but it's
you
not
know that,
in
but
the
I don't know
movie.
how inherent that is in the film.
I don't think it's inherent at all.
It just feels like it's Nick Cage. And part of that's because he already has a reputation. Nick Cage has a reputation for doing weird things in roles.
Well, most of the time when he does weird things in roles, it's things like that where he's come up with a backstory and a reason for it, but we never explain it.
And what's weird is you hear all the time about actors who come up with things like that and they know about, like you said, the whole backstory, but it seems to fit the personality and you understand why they're doing it, even if they can't sit down with you and tell you about all the steps that got them there. And like all the things that are in that character's kitchen and, you know, in the dashboard of their car. Like they know every nuance about that character. With Nick Cage, he knows all that stuff, but you have to also be in his brain.
Yeah. So I kind of hate this shot. Not this one. This is fine. This is over the top. This is, you know, doing that mythic
Weird thing with
it's
his
that.
face. Yeah.
Why? Who's he yelling at? Other than us.
Is he just in a bad mood? Is it just...
It only works in 3D.
We didn't have that yet.
So this is clearly a set.
Look, Eric, Texas.
Yeah.
There's a magnet or something in the Logan trailer that is that typical, like, I love something thing.
It's the
I
I Heart
love
New York
Texas. Thing. But instead of a heart, it's the shape of Texas. So it's like Texas? And I don't understand that.
So this is Wes
That's
Bentley.
a real McFarlane shirt.
Yeah. So this is Wes Bentley. Do you know Wes Bentley?
Not really.
Okay, so he's in a movie called American Beauty
Yeah.
that everyone that's not me really loves, and he's good in that. Apparently, he's unbelievably picky and like a terror on set and all of that.
Yeah.
But
I remember that from the commentary.
But to the extent that people just stopped working with him. Like, in the commentary, I think Mark Steven Johnson spins it like he's really picky and we're really glad we got him. I don't think that's what it is. I think by this point in his career, people don't want to work with him.
So you think this was a movie he was like stuck doing because
Yeah.
he couldn't get the roles he wanted because he had a reputation for being hard to work with?
And he will never do anything like American Beauty again. Like, he's also in Jonah Hex. Like, he was a guy that, like, was like a critical darling for a second, let it completely go to his head, and now is stuck doing movies like this and Jonah Hex. And he's never like he was in American Beauty again. Like, he doesn't seem like he's a great actor. He seems like he was maybe just the right guy for the right role, and it made him look like he was great.
On the other hand, he's not getting those kinds of roles, so you wouldn't
true.
necessarily get to see him do a thing like that again. That sounds a little bit like the guy who played George McFly in Back to the Future.
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot like Crispin Glover. See, he's watching Stupid Monkey videos because he's living every day like it's the last day of his life.
I'm really glad you were here to explain that to me. That almost might work better if he was looking at things from his own childhood.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if he was like watching cartoons,
If we
reading
saw him-
comic books.
Like wanting jelly beans as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, that could be like laying it on way too thick if we had a flashback at the beginning where it was like, here's all these things he loved doing as a child. And then now he's grown up, he's still doing all those things. Okay, so I'm speaking from experience when I say this. If you have a friend who has a name as cool as Johnny Blaze, you're not going to shorten it to JB. And
You'll call him
that.
Blaze.
You would call him Blaze, or you would say first name, last name, like I do with all of my friends that have the coolest freaking names
Tim
that I'm really
Lyons.
jealous of, like Tim Lyons or Dan Torrey or Steve Baxi.
Yep.
These are amazing names that you have to say together. And
Yep.
if you had a friend named Johnny Blaze, you would go around saying Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
And you would say to your friends, like, I'm going to go over and hang out at Johnny Blaze's house. And they'd be like, you only know one guy named Johnny. We know who, yeah, but his name is awesome, and it comes as a package. He's Johnny Blaze.
So,
I don't do that with your name.
it's not a great name.
I mean, it's okay.
Yeah. It's a 2. It's a solid 2.
Like this movie, out of 4.
Yeah. So this is where he kind of explains himself about, like, he's trying to take a negative and turn it into a positive. If you made a mistake, can you atone for that mistake? Like that whole thing that's supposed to be like his character arc or whatever. You're telling me these two friends have never had this conversation
He's
before?
watching cartoons. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Yeah, I'm sorry, what?
But how is it that, like, because you get the impression they've been friends for years. How is it that this conversation never happened before? Like, this is the reason I live my life the way I live it.
I think it's because he's going... I mean, I'm with you. They could have played it more as a conversation they've had 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably what they should have done.
Mm-hmm.
But it's supposed to be that this is the moment where he's taken it so extreme that his friend is really worried about him.
Yeah.
Like,
But we get the
I
impression
don't
that he's always ragdolling and crashing.
Yeah, but maybe just not to the extent that he did the last time, where he's going more extreme and more extreme to an absurd degree, to the point where they both know it's going to kill him at some point,
Yeah.
and he doesn't care.
So, I know this is not the movie to be asking these questions.
Yeah.
What is the motivation here? Why did he come to this
Easy.
bar and murder everyone?
Yeah, it's Mark Steven Johnson thinking, well, I got not fun bullseye.
So, I hate these guys. They're not comic book characters. They look like they belong on MTV. Or at least they did when I first saw this movie. I don't know what MTV looks like now, but they look like MTV rejects. And they're just the most uninteresting villains.
Yeah, they're real generic.
And they're all beaten way too quickly.
Yeah. These are all things I've said before.
I'm sure they are.
You
you can't talk about this movie without saying these things.
No, certainly, yeah. And even at the time, this CG was all like kind of your real typical of the moment. CG
Yeah.
was just nothing impressive or new here. None of it's just awful, but it's just okay.
And we're doing this element thing that doesn't actually play into anything. We're like, he's wind, he's water, he's earth, and then Ghost Rider is fire. But
Whose heart?
we don't ever
We do nothing
anything
with that, and they're beaten so easily that it really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If it's all supposed to be elemental, they need to be elemental together for a while.
Yeah.
But if their powers are combined, do they make Satan?
Do they make
That's
Mephisto?
a
Okay,
neat trick.
Mephisto.
I wish my face was such where if you put a black light up to it, you could see my skull beneath it. That'd be really cool.
I'm sure
I like this gag.
I think that whole character comes from Spencer's Gifts, is the point I'm making.
Yeah.
I think you can go buy that guy right now. I'm sorry. Okay.
I like him listening to Carpenters.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure if that actually makes sense with, like, live every day like it's the last day of your life, but I think what it is he's a depressed person who's trying to live like what he thinks a happy person does, and a happy person listens to the Carpenters, I guess.
Yeah,
You guys are always listening to the Carpenters, right?
Yeah, we sure are. All the time. Carpenters and Team BG. Carpenters and They Might Be Giants, that's all we do. On a
Little bit of
loop
Weird
and
Al there.
together. We like mix it. We have a playlist that's the Carpenters and They Might Be Giants. Alexa, play the Carpenters.
Shuffling songs by Carpenters.
Yeah, that's not going to get us copyright flagged.
I'll take the risk. And we wound up with a Christmas song. Naturally. Alexa, skip.
So,
We're getting done with the Christmas song. Alexa, stop. Anyway, sorry, good.
So, I like this movie, but critically, this is dumb. Like, I guess the entire movie, that could be my review of this movie.
I like it, but it's dumb.
Yeah, but critically, it's dumb. Why is she a reporter?
Yeah.
Like, she's not a reporter in the comics. Like, I don't know why she has to be a reporter, other than that's what superheroes' girlfriends are.
Yeah.
I
somehow or rather we think that'll make it seem less contrived that they meet together again right now.
Yeah. And I
Because,
think
it is of course real convenient that the bad guy shows up and they meet again, and we do this all the time in superhero
yeah.
movies.
And their relationship's real different in the comics. And to be honest, she's kind of less of a character is the wrong word because that's saying that she's a character here, but she's a comic book girlfriend in the comics. And at some point, her and their children are abducted, and then the next writer just doesn't ever talk about that again, so we don't know where they are. And that was 20 years ago. But
So there's probably not anybody going, oh no, you ruined this character?
yeah, I don't think anybody cares about Roxanne Simpson. I mean, she's fine.
And you know, she doesn't have to turn on the red light. She doesn't have to.
I think Eva Mendes is an okay actress. I think she
Never
needs...
liked her.
What?
I've never liked her.
I've seen her in some dramatic stuff where she's alright. She's this, I don't know, this personality type where, like, she clearly thinks she's the funniest person in the world, and she's not. Like, she keeps, like, she does romantic comedy.
She's hilarious?
Maybe.
Interesting, okay.
Or everyone constantly tells her she is.
I just got the sense that she was one of those actresses that actually, that maybe, like, knows she's pretty or thinks she's prettier than I think she is or something.
Oh, I think she's gorgeous.
I don't mean to say that she's unattractive, but I feel like she's almost maybe a little flaunty. I'm not sure. Something about her always kind of turned me off a little bit.
It's probably just like that, like, Latina thing. Like, she just has a lot of confidence. But I think
saying I don't like her because she's Hispanic?
No. I'm saying
what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that's what that personality thing is. It's that really confident. I know I look good.
Eric thinks I don't like people from Mexico. That's what he thinks.
No, but I really like people from Mexico. Anyways,
for the record, that's not what it is. I don't think.
But I don't think she does comedy well, and she keeps doing, like, I don't know if you ever saw Hitch. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Oh, I've seen that.
She's awful in it.
Yeah.
She brings Will Smith down in that movie, and I didn't know that was possible. I saw, like, they're going to do all this stuff with her that's real romantic comedy in this.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's ever funny on her end. Mostly. She pulls out the magic 8-ball, and that's kind of funny.
So, it's not just Harvey Bullock, it's everything. He always gets the exact same kinds of lines, no matter who's writing, and it's always consistent, and it's almost always funny. He had a line a second ago where he said, "Human sacrifice makes me uncomfortable."
There's also...
He could have said that in Gotham. That's a Harvey Bullock line.
I don't know if we talked over it or not. No, I'm not sure. No, it's when the doors open and he sees that they're all helicopters, and he goes... And Johnny says, "My dad would have thought it was cool."
Yeah, yep.
And he goes...
We just passed that.
Yeah, and he goes, "He was right."
Yeah, and Loke's pulling off Southern just fine.
Yeah. Do you think he just improvs a lot? Like, maybe that's just him.
If he does, he should be writing scripts.
Or at least punching up dialogue.
He should. He should be writing comedies. Yeah, he's faking a really good Southern accent.
Or maybe that's his normal voice and he's usually hiding it. Because he looks like he could be Southern.
He could, sure. But if you're from the South and you spend any time anywhere else, it's really easy to turn it on and off. I mean, I have that. You never hear me do a Southern accent, but I've done it in videos before.
But I don't think I've heard it
now. I did it a bunch the other day when we did the man thing.
Oh yeah, but I thought you were just doing a Southern accent. I didn't know that was just like you letting your accent out.
No, I was definitely exaggerating it on that video. If I spend some time in the South, like if I'm there for Sarah will tell you, if I'm there for 2 or 3 days, my twang starts to come back.
I think this scene's kind of cute.
If I ever try it, he tells me to stop talking.
Stop it. Oh Lord.
I used to know someone who couldn't be around Southern people, or they'd start doing the accent, and they don't have that accent. It would just stick with them for a little bit. I'm like, why do you keep doing that accent? I think the scene's kind of cute and fun. I mean, it's
one of those
really
weird things where I
dangerous.
don't really like her, but
And I don't know what he sees in her other than that she's really pretty.
Yeah, and
childhood crush.
and that they had a childhood kind of romance.
On the other hand, there's so much going on behind the eyes of the actress that plays her young.
Yeah.
Like, she's so much better than Eva Mendes
that it makes you want to like her more, and it makes you more kind of get why why he's at least nostalgic for their romance and wants to rekindle it.
Mm-hmm. He's not in love with her, he's in love with who she was.
Yeah. On the other hand, that was lucky.
Well, it's supposed to be.
Oh yeah, I guess
he can't die.
Yes. Although I'm not sure that just meeting her again that he would still be as reckless. Like I feel like he would turn that off for a minute so he could hang out there. Like that's why I don't like the idea that he stops in front of the van and it's still I don't care if I die. I don't think that can be
No,
it.
he's showboating. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, but that's why it's silly because how could you possibly know it was going to stop then?
So
that's not math you can do.
In this scene, he's going in and out of an Elvis accent, and this is a thing he's going to do this whole movie, and I love it so much. It is the weirdest choice that he's playing him like Elvis, except for the scenes when he's not. Because when I saw this movie, I thought he was just doing it here and he was being cute, but it will stick throughout the movie. He will sometimes do an Elvis accent.
So I think I was going to say earlier is, I don't know if I can call this chemistry or not, but I'm buying his performance about her.
Yeah.
This has to be a thing that a lot of people can relate to, where, I mean, obviously their crush when they were younger is as typical as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we wrote our names on the tree, and it was a fairy tale backdrop behind us.
Yeah.
Like, that should have just been a matte painting. There was no reason...
With a scene down the middle?
Yes, yes. Like there was no reason to do that in a computer. That should have been an old school matte painting. But there's got to be people that can relate to... an old flame that you kind of ended things, but you didn't really end things with, comes back into your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's a thing that happens. These rules are real vague and inconsistent.
And then we all posed for an album cover. We are still taking some cues from The Crow, yeah?
Oh, definitely. Well, and remember, we do the fiery DD and Daredevil. Like, Mark Steven Johnson's seen The Crow.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just similarities.
I never knew it came from there first. And then I went back and I watched The Crow and I was like, oh my god, these other movies that I thought that was cool. Or Daredevil, well, I thought that was cool.
Yep. I kind of like that.
You're supposed to actually turn it upside down, though.
Yeah, that's a common misconception.
What?
And would almost be like a movie trope, because I think anytime anybody ever brings out a Magic 8 Ball, they always shake it.
That's what I do.
You're not supposed to shake a Magic 8 Ball.
What?
You're supposed to just turn it.
Oh.
Yeah, you turn it upside down and you turn
Well, I guess
turn it
that's why
back.
none of those came true.
And it's also why they all get messed up, because you're not supposed to shake them, so it ruins the text. And it makes it hard for it to come up the way it's supposed to. That's why it gets off of its hinges or whatever, and then it always comes up. Eventually, if you shake it too much, it'll come up like on the seam between two.
Oh,
that's why that happens.
interesting.
You're not supposed to shake them.
I had a friend who had the 20-sided die that's inside of one of those, just outside of it.
That's awesome.
And we used to play with it. It was fun.
The problem with they should just put those out.
Yeah.
I think people would buy those. The reason I'm not sure about it, as we're going back and watching this again, is because of your explanation for why Nick Cage is playing this role the way he is. When you have her bring out something kind of quirky like that, it even more muddles why he's doing what he's doing. That seems like something he would do. Most people aren't going around with Magic 8 Balls.
No.
She just happens to have one in her purse or whatever. Like, it seems like something he would be doing.
Well, she's kind of a carny kid too, I think. She is in the comics. I don't know if she is in this movie, but I think she's supposed to
And
be.
is he already late?
Yes. He is already late.
Oh.
No, that's a problem.
Okay, well then she can't... He won't be able to blame it on the devil made me do it.
Yeah, and he's going to, And we're supposed to be like, yeah, I saw that scene.
I forgot about that. Wow.
Yeah.
We should have Sarah here more often. She's actually paying attention to the movie for us.
I feel like that is a complaint that I've had before, but I've just forgotten.
Yeah. I don't know if I talked about that in the rewind or not. One thing I kind of want to praise this movie for is kind of bringing out the inherent uniqueness and difference with this property than other superhero movies. This could have really easily just seemed like another really he's playing again. I mean, it is formulaic and generic in places and in ways, but like it's a superhero movie about the South and bikes and carnivals and stuff we've never done really.
Yeah, this
before.
does feel real different from everything else we've watched in Marvel Mania.
And like I praise all the time with Marvel Studios films, manages to kind of be in a different genre even. It's sort of a road movie.
Yeah,
without really being a road movie.
One of the things I think is interesting about this movie is...
And it does really degenerate into, your standard third act of a superhero movie.
Oh, yeah. When he goes to prison and... Yeah.
I was going to say pretty much just that big fight at the end that's not really a big fight at all. But anyway, sorry.
What's interesting about this movie is I think it's only a little bit off from what this movie should be. Like, this is almost the right tone for this movie. And if the writing was just a little bit better and it was a little bit creepy, like actually creepier, I think this is like kind of exactly the movie it should be. The fight should be better, things like that.
Tone is the problem so much as specific choices.
Yeah. I think the tone is the right idea. This real like mythic gothic western kind of a thing is exactly what you should do with this material. Or you can take it the Jason Aaron direction where he goes very grindhousey.
Which is what they try to do in the second one.
Yeah, yep. Although not to the extent of Jason Aaron. He's got like chainsaw wielding nuns and like demon truck drivers and stuff.
I'm also not even sure that tone was the problem with that movie. I just didn't know what the heck was going on.
And I'm so used to those kinds of stories. I knew exactly what it was. This is too cartoony.
What, just the way he revs it?
The sound effect as the like it's like a Looney Tune.
Texaco's not a thing anymore, and I didn't think it was even in 2007, but there was a Texaco sign.
It's westerny. It's southerny, I guess.
Yeah, but it's weird to put in some like a logo from a company. Oh, that's real Back to the Future.
This didn't say like torched. This is also a really obvious gag. This is like a weird trailer gag.
Yeah.
Like this is
I
not
got
the
taken out
tone
by
of the rest of this
pyrotechnics.
movie.
They also just stole that from The Last Starfighter.
And the way they lingered on him, I had this split second where I was expecting Agent Smith to take over his body. And then I remembered I was watching Ghost Rider. And everybody thinks he's scarier than he is.
Yeah.
I just didn't find him remotely menacing.
No. Because he's a punk kid.
Yeah, he's part of the problem, just his age.
No, he just
Is it
looks
his
like that guy
size?
from
Well,
Twilight.
I mean, he does look like
This
the guy
is
from Twilight.
pre-Twilight, but yeah.
But I guess the guy from Twilight looks like him.
It's a good point, though. It makes it worse now.
But it's a similar character type to Deacon Frost, but it worked with Deacon Frost. Maybe Deacon Frost was just a better actor or had... I don't know. Like, was Deacon Frost written that much better?
I don't know.
Because it's basically the same character.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But it works with Deacon Frost.
He's also clearly seen Blade.
Yes. No, he's absolutely seen Blade. But Blade wouldn't be a bad thing to look at when you make this movie.
And I don't think so either.
And David Goyer wrote a script for Ghost Rider.
Oh, I didn't know that. But those characters were legitimately creepy.
Yeah.
And this just feels like we're going to other things and kind of just ripping them off.
Yeah.
The only word I can think of right now is generic.
So I think this transformation is amazing, and probably the reason Nick Cage did this movie. Well, other than the fact that he's actually a huge Ghost Rider fan, and he has a Ghost Rider tattoo that they have to cover up at some point.
And clearly he's in love with that scream.
Yeah.
Because he does it in the other one also.
Yeah.
I think.
It's great. Because this is the performance he gives through the entire next movie.
Yes. That's all you'll see.
Yeah, it's
You might
great.
actually like that movie. I don't know.
I'll have to see
I think
it.
it's possible. Let's just have Sarah on for the Ghost Rider movie.
Yeah. It's got Idris Elba and the Highlander.
All right, folks. So, verdict. Does that still hold up okay?
I think it looks good.
I think it does.
Yeah. I'm not sure how else you do it and make it look good any better.
But the TV show at this point, I mean, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Looks just as
looks
good as that.
just as good as that.
Yeah. He's doing the point.
He's doing
I love the
thing
point.
again.
It's a choice that he made, and we do it even in the early flashback scene. He points at the devil.
Yeah, it's cool that's a consistent thing we do throughout.
Yeah, it's just that's how.
Like, I don't think it's
points.
silly that he won't stop pointing. You know, I mean,
It's a little silly.
yeah, but it's not like the movie doesn't realize how often it's doing it, is what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's self-aware about it. It's a choice they made.
Yeah.
And that's how Ghost Rider gets his chain.
He was
Yeah, this-
hung with it.
Yeah, this is a gradual origin for his whole costume. And I remember in the theater thinking it was clever, and now I tend to go back to these movies and go, why do we have to have an origin for everything? Why can't he just have all of that at the beginning?
Well, and can I be the annoyed Ghost Rider fan?
Sure.
Giant Blaze doesn't have a chain, Giant Blaze doesn't have spikes, and Giant Blaze doesn't have the pen stare. That's all stuff that we just gave him later because Danny Ketch had it, and Danny Ketch is actually the better character with the actual good run of comics.
Could it be a thing like we've sometimes done with Robin, though, where we just made it an amalgam of a couple of characters?
Except that he doesn't have any Danny Ketch in him other than the abilities that we took
That's
from
what I'm
him.
saying, though, is they could have done that.
Yeah.
I can see why you would want your character to be named Johnny Blaze in a
Yeah.
movie.
Well, and they're clearly taking a lot from the Johnny... That doesn't look that great. They're clearly taking a lot from the Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider comics, but we gave him all of Danny Ketch's abilities, and that doesn't give you anywhere to go in a sequel. I wouldn't have given him all of this. I would have held that back. I mean, maybe give him the chain, because the chain at this point is so iconic to Ghost
His
Rider, but...
face goes CG before it should go CG. Did you notice that?
I always forget that there's an Earth guy, because he dies there.
Yeah, real quick. It's like the guy that can climb walls in Suicide Squad.
How
He
does
just
the
goes away real
flames
quick.
and skeleton look better than the CGI chain? You know, it's silly in the
That's
movie,
great.
but that's
I don't care.
that's totally a comic book cover.
No, I love that, though. That's a lot of fun. I like the idea that he has to, scream in agony anytime he transforms anything.
It'd be cooler if it was entirely made out of fire.
See, now that you said that, I wish that's what we did.
Yep. I mean, to be fair, actually, originally Ghost Rider just drives a motorcycle, and then he starts doing the flame wheels, and then he does an entirely flame motorcycle for the majority of the original run.
Oh. And now she's gone from maybe a little unsympathetic to why would anyone want to date this person?
But I also don't believe that guy's reaction.
No, that's Captain Logan's reaction to that same line.
I don't know.
Because my wife calls me Captain Logan.
Yes.
And
I call her Admiral Sarah.
so, I hate this girl so much in this movie. Here's the thing. I hate her in this.
Why?
She's awful. She's... Of everything in this movie...
I just never would have thought to have you have an opinion
I've
about that.
always hated her, and now she's a movie star.
Oh, really?
She's Rebel Wilson. She's in those Pitch Perfect movies. Yeah, no, I hate her here, and she has gotten no better. She does the exact same thing she does in this movie, and she's popular now, and people like her, and it bothers me so much, because I hate her going back to this movie. This isn't her only scene. She comes back. I'm not just hating her for being like,
no, I know she does. Can I ask you a stupid question? Because it's been a while since I've seen this, and I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but Is he, when he's Ghost Rider, possessed by a demon? Or is it still him, but in this Ghost Rider-y form? Or do they ever
comics
really
or
come out
in this movie?
Do they make it clear in this?
In the movie, there's a discussion about a fire elemental within him.
Oh, that's right. That's okay. Because we were talking about the elemental thing.
Yeah. In the comics, he's possessed by a demon named Zarathos,
Yeah.
who goes back to the dawn of man and is a rival of Mephisto, and it's a whole thing. Unless
I just couldn't remember how clear they made it, like exactly what the identity issues were.
I don't think they do make it that clear. Like, he talks about, like, I'm talking to the fire elemental within me, but...
Like, how much of him is in this? And obviously there has to be some. It's got to be somewhat based on his personality. Like perhaps it's somewhat of a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah.
Because, again, he does the pointing thing, and he wouldn't... Like, that elemental wouldn't be into motorcycles if he hadn't taken over a motorcycle guy.
Well, and in the comics, originally he just turns into Ghost Rider and there's no personality anything, but as it goes on, Ghost Rider becomes like crazier and crazier and it becomes harder and harder for him to control himself in that form. And that's when we start doing all that demon stuff.
The D-transformation is cooler.
Yeah.
And that's impressive because it's at dawn, so it's somewhat lit.
Yeah.
That actually looks great.
And then with Dan Ketch, it's a completely separate person.
Okay.
So there's definitely identity stuff to do with Ghost Rider. We're just not exactly. That's convenient, right? That it's his dad's grave, given that his dad died in the traveling carnival.
He just comes right up to it.
Well, he drove all night to get there.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Well, that tells you that there has to be quite a bit of Johnny Blaze to the Ghost Rider then. Because he intentionally drove to that grave. That's not necessarily convenient. It's maybe convenient that
he might have
former Ghost Rider that knows everything about this stuff happens to work at that grave.
Well, he might have been drawn
Graveyard.
to this graveyard because of that. I don't know.
Okay, but then one of these things is convenient. All of it together is a little much. Oh, oops! It's blood. I don't know why I thought that. And it's just this weird mental picture for a minute that it was like a vampire crypt, and he was accidentally drinking blood. I've seen too many Buffy episodes. Or somebody walks in and goes, "That's holy water, don't drink that."
So we're gonna find out he's Carter Slade, and he's also Caretaker, which kind of bothers me because I love Caretaker. Caretaker's one of the best characters from the '90s Ghost Rider comics, and Jason Aaron kills him off screen. It really bothers me.
And in this, it's just his Cagliostro, basically.
Well, and that's kind of what he is in the comics. Because remember, Ghost Rider's like 2 years in by the time Spawn starts. Spawn's ripping off Ghost Rider real hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean
Steve
the
and I
'90s
talked about
Danny
that a
Ketch
little bit.
Ghost Rider.
And Steve's gone back and read like everything,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about doing a Ghost Rider series, kind of like.
He has on his channel.
Oh yeah. He talked about. I couldn't remember how much of it he had done.
I don't know if
he
he's
did
done a
something.
lot of it, but he's definitely done some of it.
Yeah, but I know he's read through it all, and he was making a lot of comparisons to things I said in Spawn Year and about how inconsistent it is and how we retcon all the time and.
After the first 25 issues. The first 25 issues are solid. I would argue with Steve, because that's what Steve says. I think it goes a little bit further than that.
Okay.
I think there's some good stuff in the 30s, but...
And of course, the problems that lead to that are different.
That's
Because
a lot of
McFarlane's in
editorial
control
interference.
all the way through.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of editorial interference, and then writers changing.
Refusing to keep track of what came
He is a very similar character to Cagliostro. But in this, he's going to turn out to be Carter Slade, because he doesn't actually have a name. He's just the caretaker in the comics. I don't think he has a name. Carter Slade is... I don't know if you've ever seen the... usually, he's called Phantom Rider. He's a cowboy who rides a white horse. He's dressed all in white. He's got a white mask, a white cowboy hat, and he's got like a cape. He was originally called Ghost Rider. And then we just reused that name for this character.
Oh.
So that's a thing.
Huh, interesting.
And after Ghost Rider became popular, we just call him Phantom Rider now.
But happily, at no point does he say, "You're playing right into their hands."
Yeah. Yeah, this guy's kind of fun. Well, that's interesting. He's Dolan. That's the guy in the Spirit.
Yeah, I was about to say that. And I've seen that actor in a bunch of stuff.
Mm.
Can't right off remember what, but
What is that? What was that like thing that like
Yeah,
that he was like this?
you mean like the handprint?
No, there was like a protractor or something there. Like
Oh.
I like this gag.
Shazam! Go fire go.
So this is a weird decision that we make. That whatever wounds he gets as Ghost Rider are wounds when he becomes a person, which I don't think we're consistent with all the damage we do to him.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We just needed him to be doing something in this scene, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you can do anything you want to when it's celestial and magical and stuff, but...
But that guy just stabbed him with a normal knife.
Yeah, and it's weird because he doesn't have skin when he's Ghost Rider, so, like, how exactly would the wound manifest?
Yeah.
It's like, well, you stabbed into bone, but like, now it's in my skin, and...
The skin becomes
So you
flames,
really
so when
can't-
you're stabbing the flames, you're stabbing the skin.
I guess.
I don't know.
Does Ghost Rider feel it when it happens, but now that you've got nerve endings, it bothers you? Like,
The skin hangs out in Z space, and so when you actually penetrate the shoulder, you're penetrating Z space and hitting the skin.
did you just make an obscure Animorphs reference?
Yeah.
Well done.
San Venganza is a great fake name. Like, that sounds like a real town. I assume it's fake.
Well, let's look it up. Because I kind of think that is a real place, but I'll look it up.
Did everyone in a town give their soul to the devil? Is that a real myth?
I mean, it just sounds really good. It's like Latveria. A lot of people thought Latveria was a thing.
You know,
what's it called? Did you?
San Venganza.
It could also be based on an actual, thing that happened or a myth or something.
Mm-hmm.
No, it is made up. You're right.
It sounds real. Sounds real enough you thought it was real.
Are demons real, and did they sign the treaty? Or is it a thing that predates my... No. Sorry, I found this really amusing
Thread.
yeah, I couldn't think of it. I found this amusing thread back from '09 where somebody was doing research about, like, vampires and things and thought all of this Marvel mythology was real.
Or at least real mythology.
Yeah, but is talking about it like they think it was real.
Is Lamagra mentioned?
Oh, it's really funny.
Here
and
she is
then-
again, being awful and ruining this great movie.
I mean, this isn't especially funny to me or anything, but I don't know that it's, like, poorly acted or anything. Like, isn't that just a taste thing? Isn't it just you don't like that?
Sure.
Like, why is it bad? Is all I'm wondering.
I don't know. I've always hated her in this movie, and then she became popular, and I don't think she's funny, and I think she's annoying, and she shouldn't have a career. I don't know. she's a kind of comedy that irritates me. You have that.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I think it's a taste issue. And
Yeah,
you're talking
no.
about like she's just simply a bad actress.
No,
And
it's
I don't know if
entirely a
that's
taste
fair.
issue.
Okay, all right.
No, it's entirely a taste issue. Her brand of comedy is.
I'm going to call you out, but I'm calling you out.
Yeah, no, her brand of comedy is one that just irritates me. Like when she's on screen in anything, like I'll see trailers and she shows up, and I'm like, oh, get her off screen.
So the person who responded to that post in that message board was like, I don't know where you did your research, but I'm pretty sure this is all a work of fiction. As from Marvel Comics. And yeah, it's hilarious. Could have been a troll, though. What is the thing he does with his finger there? What is that?
Well, he's about to be like 1 minute, I think. Like, give me a second.
I think he's about to correct her, and then he decides.
Is that what it is?
No,
He does it real fast, so he's like, "Dun, dun, dun." Like he doesn't even hesitate. He's just like,
He's like, actually,
This is a
This
gesture.
is what happened, but then he's like, nah.
But he was already
It's
late,
harder
so
to
he
explain.
can't say anything. Maybe he realized, oh, but
Yeah.
I was already late.
yeah, why was he late?
Yeah.
So this whole
Why would
cop
you do it
angle
like that?
Could have been cut from this movie, right? Like
What's
Ghost
that?
Rider's this whole cop angle. Ghost Rider's not a movie that needs cops. That's clearly a CGI body. I don't care what they say on the commentary track.
Well, no, it might be real, but it looks more fake when you oil it up like that. I just want him to go to Ben Stein and try to convince Ben Stein that he can turn into Ghost Rider. That's a scene I want. The flame heads we wear.
This is a movie trope.
Ripping pages out of books?
No. Just a wellspring of books on demonology and like
Oh.
angelic backgrounds and stuff like that. Like,
I mean, this kind of did happen in Faust, but
yeah,
He's looking at something specific that actually exists.
but it's a whole big book. It's not a whole book about Faust.
well, no,
And there's always cool illustrations. You ever notice
Well, that's
that?
yeah. I mean, Faust is he wrote a book, or it is a book.
Yeah. Oh, I guess you're right. Is he just
It's
reading
by,
Faust?
It's by Goethe.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was by Rembrandt. Weird. Oh, maybe Rembrandt did the Faust painting? I don't know.
You think that CGI looks... You think that arm is CG too? Is that a CG arm?
No. But it's also not oiled up, so I don't know.
Is that a CG neck? Is his neck too thick?
No, but I'm pretty sure his hand's CG.
Is that a CG hand?
I'm pretty sure that's a CG hand.
Or at least the...
See how we're keeping out of focus? Oh, maybe not.
No,
I
it's
don't
not.
know.
It's not, but it's a lot of fun to listen to you make up stuff. Okay, that's interesting. At what point does the transition get to the point where you're no longer feeling the fire? Because in mid-morph,
He was screaming.
it's hot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess it's because he's trying to take control of it, and
He should really show her his new cool trick.
yeah, that would help
Yeah.
with this whole conversation that they're about to have.
And that she should be like, I saw a movie like 2 years ago where there was this guy who was super arrogant and could like snap and make flames happen with his hand. You remind me a lot of that guy.
But not arrogant. Although your name's similar.
Bill, see, it sounds true because I gave you a name to go along with it.
Well, he might actually know his neighbor Bill.
No, I know, but it just... Oh,
Look, it said
see,
Daredevil
it says
because Mark
Daredevil.
Steven Johnson made Daredevil.
Right, that's real clever.
Well, and I mean, that's something that might have been written on something.
No, that's true, sure. But we got a close-up of it
Mm.
because the last movie he made was called Daredevil. Daredevil.
A whole roll of quarters to get like 8 pictures? Don't you usually just get like a couple of them when you put like
Like you get like 4 at a time?
yeah a whole roll
Doesn't
of
it
quarters?
flash real fast? Isn't that the whole point of it? Like
Yeah.
like you put in a certain amount of money and then it flashes like several times so that it looks like animation? Like isn't that the point of it? Yep. We're complaining about this.
I don't even know this. A roll of quarters is $10.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, she's right about that last part.
Oh, Nick Cage wishes he got to be Batman. And Superman.
And he wishes he got to be Superman. And then...
He was almost Iron Man as well.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She opens you up for this.
No, Nick Cage is a huge
You can
comic book
tell
fan.
me anything. Show her your cool candle trick.
Well, it takes concentration, and he can't concentrate when she's there.
But the nice thing is they don't stretch this out ad nauseum.
Yeah.
He actually does end up telling her, and in the scene, if memory serves.
Yeah, but she doesn't believe him, because...
You know how a normal person comes downstairs.
Remember that reporter?
Somebody goodbye. And... Yeah, good point. See, he looks like he's about to do the Batman thing, and then she's like, no, I understand. This is the part where he says, look, you're a real nice girl and I like you a lot, but for right now, shut up. By the way, I want to apologize for all the times I've said that to you. I was just reenacting that scene.
He's talking to me.
Don't take it personally, He's not joking, though.
See, he's doing Elvis again.
And I never thought of that, but now that you said it, I can't unsee it. The way he's saying it does sound like a ludicrous thing he's just making up so that she'll go, okay, I agree with you, I believe you. It must have been the hibachi grill, okay.
Well, this is the thing that movies do, right? When we complained about this in our commentary for Ninja Turtles. When it is something that's insane, but your characters explain it in a way that seems to intentionally make them sound crazy.
Yeah. It's the you can make anything work, you just have to make it work thing. That happens in real life too, where you can explain something that really did happen.
Okay, he did this thing that I do sometimes, but he did it with his point. He was like, you need to go. I'm gonna start doing that. Oh, I'm gonna do that all the time now. I forgot about the pointing in this movie, but that's coming back. I used to do that all the time.
I love pointing.
This is where you show a little bit of proof. She doesn't need much.
Yeah, because you didn't just come out and explain everything. And I don't think it was supposed to be in the way that superhero characters sometimes do, where it's like reverse psychology, right? Because we'll do that sometimes. There's an episode of Breaking Bad where he does that.
Where he just says what he's doing?
Yeah. It actually happens several times, and it works every time. There's one bit where his brother, who is the DEA agent, is helping him unpack his car, and he's got a bag full of money, and it's like thousands of dollars, and of course it's the DEA agent, and he's been after him but doesn't know who it is, and he picks up the bag, and he says, God, what do you have in here? It feels like it weighs like a ton of bricks, and he says, like the amount of money that's in it. And he's like, oh sure, and he just takes it to the house. It's great.
So, I'm gonna offer a slight defense for him not using his fire powers.
You mean in front of her?
Yeah. Because it requires concentration. Like he's like concentrating on it. And she's real pretty, and like she's the girl that he's always wanted to be with.
He's
and
afraid
like
to set the whole
and
room
like
on
that
fire?
No, it just like sets him off mentally. Like he can't concentrate because she's there. That's a thing that happens.
I thought you were gonna say he's scared of he's afraid of scaring her.
No. I think maybe he just is going all over the place in his head because because it's the girl he likes and she's always
she makes him nervous, and more than that, she's the only thing he's got right now that gives him much of a reason to live.
Because we don't get any indication that he's been with or gone after any other girl. Like it's we don't see him like with girls after the show, like
that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You know what I wish had happened though? I wish he did, like Sarah suggested, go ahead and show her proof so that and then he sits there and he expects her to reject him, like Thing's wife, and then she just looks at him like with an understanding look and says, "You're a god among insects. Don't let anybody tell you different."
I like that line. I when I'm done with my career, I intend to apply my skills being a motorcycle policeman.
I can control the flame on my head, but I can't create it.
Now, if I was going to write a script for Ghost
You're a
Rider,
god among insects.
I wouldn't have police investigating him. Like, that's really, like, going against your big, like, mythic Western kind of a thing. Like, regular cops are investigating Ghost Rider? And they're able to track it to Johnny Blaze?
Yeah, part of the reason that's there is because as we're making more of these movies and we're making them for audiences that seem to be a little more sophisticated and a little smarter, we're concerned that we're going to get the criticism we often get of superhero movies, which is, where are the cops, and the cops are incompetent.
Mm-hmm. But this is a heightened enough material, you don't need that.
Or you can easily put it enough in the background where just nobody knows about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems like a reach here because...
Couldn't you easily just have no proof?
Yeah, and the only proof they have is a melted license plate. That's his. That's how they figured it out. I don't know about this.
And just because there's heat involved? Yeah.
That's
fair.
They're angry that they saw his show and he didn't die. Like, they were paying for him to die. He says, he's like, I paid $50 to see you go splat.
Oh, I never thought of that. But that's just a contrivance so he can do that.
Well, yeah, but this whole scene is a contrivance so that he can get spikes.
Yeah. Sarah's favorite part. More origin for the costume.
Well, and you know what's weird is Johnny Blaze's traditional Ghost Rider costume, before he just becomes Danny Cage's Ghost Rider, is like a motorcycle jumpsuit. Did you just say nice coat?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
But it's just a motorcycle jumpsuit, like, and we're keeping that like motorcycle stuntman backstory. I don't understand why you wouldn't just do that as the costume.
Yeah, and this easily still could have kind of been a motorcycle jacket thing. Mm-hmm. He could have this exact same costume and get it from his own background. Oh, that's a relief. I'm not going to need therapy for the rest of my life.
And this is weird because he's an agent of the devil, but he's judging people for their
sins.
Did
that guy faint, or did Ghost Rider do a thing, or does the pen steer just make you fall over?
No, I think he fainted. But like, I don't know. That seems like a weird It seems more angel-y, right? That he's going around like judging people for their sins.
You know what? I figured out his motivation. His motivation is that he needs the fire element so that he doesn't have to light all those freaking candles by himself.
That scene makes no sense. We're told that he can't go on holy ground.
I was wondering about that.
He's hanging out in a church.
Yeah.
I guess we just need rules for what makes holy ground holy ground. Because
I would think a church.
Yeah.
You'd think, but maybe something historical has to happen in a place. Something specific.
It's not
like just having the building doesn't necessarily make it God's. You know what I mean? I'm not saying this movie should go into like Protestantism and Catholicism or anything, but it could be like it doesn't count if it's too far against whatever the like reality of what creates the religion actually is, because you have a lot of conflicting things in the different denominations.
Okay,
so it could be it's not. No, I'm sure it doesn't. I'm just saying that could be an explanation.
But nothing we've ever done where something can't go on holy ground is not just universally church.
I agree with you.
This scene makes no sense. Doing a lot of complaining in this movie I like a lot. I think I might actually like this movie, ironically.
Well, it's funny because you were really irritated about how many bad movies we had in a row. And this was in the middle of those, and you weren't like, well, we have one reprieve, that's good.
Yeah, I'm not disliking watching this movie. It's just, I like this movie, but critically it is dumb.
But I'm surprised that you didn't look in the middle and go, well, at least we have Ghost Rider. Like, you acted like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. You acted like this was part of that whole...
I mean, it's not a good movie.
No.
I like it because I like Nick Cage.
But I don't think it's better than Fantastic Four.
I probably like it more than Fantastic Four, but that might just be it being more in my wheelhouse.
Sure, yeah.
I think it's on par with Fantastic Four.
Yeah, critically,
I don't think it's
narratively,
worse than Fantastic Four.
I think they're right. They're right together.
It's although there is no point where this movie, for no reason, decides to try to put realism in it.
Well,
it's.
I mean, we sort of said that with the cop thing a little bit, but that's just the motivation for it being there more than the way it's handled.
Yeah.
This is a really cool location. Like, I'm sure that's a church they went to.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yabagor. Oh, man.
You know what to do.
Such
Go
a
get
cool
killed
name.
because we need Ghost Rider to, in 6 seconds, take out each of these guys.
You know what's funny? Every time one of them dies, in my brain I'm like, well, this is the dumbest kill of the movie. And then I remember what the other kills are. I'm like, no, they're all
there's
really
another
dumb.
really dumb kill.
The water one is dumb, this one is dumb, and the earth one is dumb.
You know what these kills are like? They're as bad as the ends of fights in Amalgam.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're like.
Yeah. And
Although none of them happen off screen or like under desks or anything. That doesn't happen.
The biggest problem with this movie, I think, is the fights. I think if these fights were better, this movie would be better remembered. It's not a great movie, but I think if you did legitimately cool things with the fights...
It was just a better action movie.
Yeah.
But he just doesn't seem real good at directing action is part of the problem.
Yeah.
And Daredevil has really short, quick, easily resolved action or fight scenes also.
You know, we keep doing these...
At least that's what I remember from before.
What is she doing in that scene? You're a girl. She's like, really? Like, oh yeah, this outfit. No!
You're a girl. What was she doing in that
I
scene,
have
you know?
no idea.
We keep doing these...
lump you all together and...
We keep doing these, like, gag cuts where, like, we cut to someone reacting who's, like, the cop on the thing, the window washer. It really feels just like, screw normal people! His, like, motorcycle jumps over that one cop for no reason, like...
He's flying on rooftops!
Yeah, it's way, like, more slapsticky than that. It's like... It's like Three Stooges gags, like Emmett and Costello gags. Why is he doing this?
I guess a part of me does... I know, I was asking
He wants to tell him something.
He does want to tell him something.
Yeah.
He's just like, get over here.
that actually is kind of a great reaction. I like that. Sorry. I'll stop doing that. That doesn't look great.
But now that you've seen that this is a flaming skull man, surely you'll immediately be like, well, that's not Johnny Blaze. He doesn't have a flaming skull. He has skin on his skull.
Yeah, that thing where... It's kind of like The Mask, where everybody keeps assuming it's him and nobody's asking how the heck he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep going after him after this, I think they do. Do they?
I don't remember.
Don't
I actually don't think they do.
Oh, okay. So I said earlier that maybe this could all be happening in the background. There's actually a part of me that kind of likes they just come right out and now we know there's a big flaming skull guy.
Yeah. Although they all accept that real fast.
Yeah. Then that makes it like The Mask.
This is so dumb.
The Mask is a much better film than this one.
That he's swinging a chain, like it's going through him because you can't catch the wind. And then he
just dissipates the wind with his... Yeah, this is ridiculous.
So he pulls it towards himself with the...
The only thing I can guess...
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's kind of surrounding it, creating a tornado effect is what
But
it's supposed
he's
to be
the
happening.
wind.
The wind is subject to physics.
Not in this movie. It really feels like he probably wrote cool action scenes and then got the budget and was like, oh, well...
You know what it is? It's these fights are
Barely
matches.
fights.
No, hold on. They're matches of rock paper scissors. That's what.
And
they
fire
are.
always wins.
It's just fire always wins. That's
Yeah.
it. The end. And they last about that long.
Well,
if you're playing best 2 out of 3, that's how long they last. And they always wins.
And it's weird because it's going to win against water as well.
Yeah.
And that one's... I don't think water is the dumbest. I think water's the most confusing. I don't actually know what's happening in that scene. Much like Hulk, When we go underwater, I don't know what's happening.
But I don't know why fire tornado immediately beats wind.
And he's just kind of like going like he's not like spinning really fast. He's
yeah, because it is, like you said, the wind, like, it's like he's creating a breeze that beats the wind because it's got fire. Like, isn't it just a matter of how much of an element you have? You know, like, wind could beat fire if you had enough wind.
Yeah.
Right?
I would think.
And same thing with water.
And earth.
And earth! You got enough of it, it beats fire. It's not one versus the other. It's a matter of the degree of it. Hey, extras, just stand around and groan for a minute.
Well, they were holding their ears like it was loud. You know, people, I'm a biker.
Yes, the biggest wait, what is this?
It's Roxanne.
Naturally, we always have to do that thing.
The villains have to go after the girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you're a girl. How do you feel about the fact that
she's not even his girlfriend?
How many times has that happened to you, Sam? You get kidnapped a lot?
In the last million years? Twice.
And it's the middle of summer. Do you need firewood?
That's just what he does.
It's how he keeps in shape.
No. Chop wood.
You want some jelly beans? I got 2 pots of coffee. Would you like one?
They're such weird...
And they're all slanty.
There's such weird decisions of like where to use the money for the special effects. Cause like all the fights suck, and then he's gonna turn their Ghost Rider for a really cool scene, and then leave. Like, they couldn't have thought they were making a movie that was in any way satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, that's worse than the short rock paper scissors fights.
Yeah.
Way worse, because they build it up like, oh cool, things are gonna go down. The biggest misstep in this movie is that he's not in that last fight.
Yeah.
And there's no reason not to. Because once he's a Ghost Rider, we're not asking this actor to fight in action scenes. He's a special effect.
Mm-hmm.
Which means we didn't have the budget to do 2 Ghost Riders.
But we wasted the money.
So you do this or don't do it. Right?
But
it becomes a Smallville fight problem.
Well, and we do a whole sequence of him with 2 Ghost Riders. Just save that money and do it in a fight.
Well, yeah, but it's like a couple of shots. Like, I get that. That would be more expensive.
Would it be?
Likely.
Okay.
They ride. I mean, he transforms, and they ride, and then they stop and look at dramatic and smile at each other, and then they stop being Ghost Riders, or he stops being a Ghost Rider. Like, that's it. And they even try to explain it. Like, it's obvious that it seems obvious to me that it's like that just because you don't have the budget to do any more with it, and so they try to justify it by saying, "Well, I had enough for one more ride."
Yeah. Well, thanks for wasting it on that ride. I love Donald Logue's logic here.
I was thinking about throwing a barbecue, but I'm glad I rode with you. Yep, nope, Donald Logue wrote that line. There's no way around it, he wrote that line. Sometimes I have a little bit of a mental list of actors I would love to sit down with, and the one question I would ask them if
you write all of your dialogue?
Right now at the very top is Donald Logue, and do you write all of your dialogue?
Riding a Gravy Train with biscuit wheels.
I think I might. Nobody steal this. I think I might make that Gotham video. You know what it starts with?
Shiny shoes.
Shiny shoes. Yeah, that guy is kind of fun. He seems to be like that kind of character. If whenever in a movie, especially a superhero movie, you have a female TV reporter, there's always that guy.
Yeah. He's
And
like the
there's
guy
like three of them with April O'Neil in different Ninja Turtles movies.
I was gonna say he's like that guy in the first Ninja Turtles movie.
Yeah.
Where she's like, time me, he's like 60 seconds. A new record. And the biggest mistake of the movie.
Yeah. And also, his death looks really bad.
Yeah.
But at least you got to say gravy train on biscuit wheels before you went. That's good.
True. And you're Purdy and all?
You're Purdy and all.
He's got like
Roxanne, you
rope
don't have to turn on the red light.
Well, and that guy said that she was out looking for him. Why would he immediately assume that she would be here?
I think
She's pointing too.
I think I had that same problem with the last time I saw this. That looked cool too.
Yep.
And I guess it's kind of cool that there's a progression where he's figured out how to do that faster.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Well, and it kind of follows the thing from the comics where, like, initially it's only at night and then he learns to control it. We kind of do that real quick.
He's at least smarter than Balthazar and Constantine, right?
Well, I mean...
Balthazar would be like, oh no, the penance stare! Oh no! And then he would get like his whole self shattered up into pieces, and then Ghost Rider would be like, yeah, it doesn't... You don't have a soul, you idiot! And then he's like, oh man, you're so right, I can't believe I fell for that. It's the oldest trick in the book! It's the oldest trick in Hell's Bible.
We do this thing...
Because Hell had a Bible too.
We've done this a couple of times. Corinthians goes up to 16 chapters. We do this thing where, like, we like to turn his fire off while he's still a skull, but it never has any impact because it's the first thing we see done to him. Is he turns into Ghost Rider, he gets hung up by a chain, and his fire goes out. That should be a really intense moment if that's the first time we see his fire go out.
That's a good point. Meanwhile, back at the cemetery.
I think he can only be Ghost Rider in the darkness in this movie. I think that is still a thing. Because when he does the flame gun at the end, he keeps it out of the sunlight.
I don't know if they ever actually come out and talk about that, or if that's one of the rules that the caretaker mentions, but it might be. And I just don't remember.
It's at least visually established.
See, that makes me want the Ben Stein scene even more. Ghost Rider doesn't work in sunlight unless you got power!
The whole time. There's a deleted scene where it's in the extended cut.
Yeah.
Where Blackheart goes to fight him on this graveyard that's holy ground.
He's not supposed to be able to be?
Yeah.
Does he still walk on it?
Yep.
Let's not have rules or anything.
Yep.
Let's establish rules and just hope that our stupid monkey craniums can't keep all this information straight for the hour and 50 minutes we're watching this movie.
Now, I'm not a Tim Burton fan, but a thing that he did that was clever, that this movie could have taken cues from, is there's a scene in Sleepy Hollow where they're all gathered in the church, and he says, like, he can't get us here, it's holy ground, and then he just throws, like, a giant, like, piece of a fence through a window and it just stabs straight through a guy. Those are the kinds of ways you can get around holy ground rules.
Yeah, that's fair. Just start throwing stuff.
Yeah. Or
That is
other
a weird
clever
movie,
ways.
by the way. That is a weird movie.
It is a weird movie. So, I have some questions. Is this horse immortal?
Yeah.
It's the same horse.
But why? Like, I don't know. Extending, like, your power to another sentient being, well, I guess not sentient, but another being seems to be further than
And the horse hangs out in another dimension until he calls for it.
Z-Space.
Z-Space. See, it's a dead horse.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gotta be a well, I don't know, maybe you can do that to a thing and then change it back and it's just normal.
Well, I assume that's what he did when he was Ghost Rider kicking around in the Old West.
Yeah. And Ghost Rider's in the Sky is the obvious choice, I don't care.
And I like this cover.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Do you know that this band, they did one other thing that you've heard, which is Black Betty?
Oh, okay.
This is the band that does Black Betty, and it doesn't sound like it's the same band.
And then and I have listened to this cover in its entirety, and it is quite good.
Yeah, I like it. Well, and I don't mind that's the obvious choice because Ghost Rider, that's dumb.
Any more than I did with Iron Man and Iron Man.
Well, but even more so with this because Iron Man that song comes after that comic book. Ghost Rider's comic book, like backstory, the actual creation of him is really complicated, and there's like 4 people that all say they created him. But one thing that is consistent is that this song was an inspiration on the character.
Oh, well, in that case, it should be there. Yeah. That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. But why?
Yeah, and why did he need you to...
For what?
I've also been saving this bottle of wine from 1556.
What if you just rode like a normal horse and I rode like a normal motorcycle and then we transformed here at this point?
Also, we just rode in a straight line. So, you didn't... For what? No, thank you.
That being said, Cowboy Ghost Rider is a really cool visual.
No, it's awesome. But, and I think I said this in the rewind, but I mean, like, all he had to do was point. Be like, go that way. Okay. Like, they didn't need to ride together. It's not like he was his GPS helping him get there.
This movie just has so many like really weird decisions where it's just like, I know exactly what the audience wants. Let's do the opposite.
I'm going to say it. You ready?
Counting to the choices?
This doesn't look any better than Man-Thing.
Oh. Okay, but they're not in love with this set and they're not going to spend half the movie here.
And they don't have 5 trees and they're not pretending like they've walked 20 miles
Yeah,
in the swamp.
It's just here for this one little sequence.
Yeah. I'm just saying. That doesn't look any worse than this.
Well,
I don't mean that whole movie. I mean just this.
That's the set piece of the movie?
Yeah, no.
And this is a nothing
set
scene?
Yeah.
Oh, we still have a water guy. We have to get rid of him. I need you to explain to me what's happening here.
It's like the end of Hulk. I just don't know what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Okay, so he's dying.
Well, you see, Ghost Rider has power, and he wants all of them.
How is this a surprise?
Because the henchmen are stupid.
Yeah,
what is happening? How is he winning? What is...
He doesn't have to breathe, I guess. Because the guy thought he was drowning him.
But he knew that he was Ghost Rider and that he could become Ghost Rider? I guess maybe so he thought he was dead? Is that what the surprise is? You're dead? And then it's, surprise, I'm not dead.
Yeah, that's how I read it.
The scene doesn't go on long enough then. He should be strangling him for a long time, and even then, why would he think that would work?
I don't know about you, but
unless it's like, if you can't transform, you're just human. Maybe that's what it's supposed to be.
I don't know about you, but I've watched enough movies that I know that if somebody tries to drown me, I'm going to fight real violently for a couple of seconds, and I'm just going to stop. Because that's what they always do, right? Like, you fight really violently to get free, and then you go limp when you die.
That means you're dead.
Yeah, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to stop.
That makes everyone that ever has tried to kill anyone that way in a movie really stupid.
But it always works. I've learned from movies that to flail about a little bit and then stop. And
that would work. I think a lot of people, especially if they're experienced in such things, Eric, would keep going to make sure. It's like if you shoot someone and you think they're dead, and you fire 4 or 5 more times just to make sure you did the job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we're doing close-up eye shots because Leone. Because we're a Western again.
Good call.
Surprise!
Wait a minute, wait. Oh, what is the point of the negative? That's goofy.
I think that's a Blackheart thing. I think we might keep doing that. This is dumb. He can't throw fireballs, but he can... When he gets punched, parts of fire come out, and he can pick it up like a snowball throw it.
That's so goofy. And he's just gonna keep doing it.
This movie just makes the wrong decision at every turn, and I kind of love it for that. I think that's why I like this movie, is that somebody sat down
Well, that was convenient.
and wrote a good script, and they go, okay, all these places we did these, what if we go the opposite
The
way?
sun came up really fast.
No, they're just moving that fast.
I mean, it came up fast
Is
enough
that-
that I wonder.
this is
if
slow-mo
that's-
for them.
Is that your excuse for why this is such a short fight sequence?
Yeah, they're moving really fast. This is slow-mo for how fast they're moving. The sun is actually your cue.
But
for
we're not
that.
even to the cool part. Don't forget that he is Legion. Don't forget.
Yeah, for he is many.
He is Legion. And yet, I would still rather watch this 15 times in a row than Legion one more time.
I never saw it.
Oh. That's why your brain still works.
Yeah. I don't understand this. So he gets all these souls, but I don't know what the souls do. I don't know. Like, they don't make him stronger. There's not, like.
And because
There doesn't seem to be, like, a hell currency that souls, like. What is it? What does this do to him?
And because we beat every other elemental so quickly, there's just no tension at all here, even with all this going on.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of just waiting for it to end. You're just expecting that at any minute he'll just snap his fingers, even though the sun's come on.
You know what? I like Eva Mendes in the Spirit. She's not trying to be comedic there.
I didn't like her there either.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I didn't think she knew what movie she was in.
Oh, I think she does. I think. I don't know.
And she seemed like another really typical, unlikable love interest to me, but...
Well, but she's supposed to be.
Well,
It's a whole thing.
I get that, but...
No, I just mean, I don't want to get off
I
talking
don't
about
want to start talking about
Ghost
that
Rider.
movie,
Yeah.
but...
Oh, we read 3 words
That's
in
so-
the Bible.
That's so chilling. It's not.
Do you want to say John 3:16?
But like really creepy.
Yeah. John 3:16.
For God so loved the world.
Let's shoot him with a regular gun.
In the beginning.
So this is a thing that's cool in the comics that isn't cool here.
And we're in a video game now.
Yeah. So, in the comics, after Giant Blaze loses the Ghost Rider, he gets a shotgun that shoots Hellfire, and he just hangs out with Danny Ketch as a biker who has a Hellfire shotgun. And
That's
here,
cool. They should have done that with the Caretaker.
yeah. And here, because we don't have the money to make the movie we want to make, we just have him his hand turn into a skeleton that makes the gun hellish.
You know, if you would just stop taking your time saying everything.
Why does this hurt him at all? It is just a regular shotgun. He has 1,000 souls in him.
I'm gonna beat him in the head with it.
See, it's only because his arm's in the shadows. I don't know if we establish this movie. That's clearly what's going on.
Well, and also when the sun comes up, he's like, "See, look, you can't turn into Ghost Rider anymore." So
Yeah.
The caretaker guy said, "Stick to the shadows."
okay,
Yeah.
okay. I can
Okay,
remember.
so it is
Yeah.
established in the film at least.
Sarah's watching the movie.
Yeah.
So just go to her, and she can explain what's actually happening.
And also this is the ruins of a church, so
Yep.
even though it's the ruins, would it still be?
Holy ground.
Holy-
Well,
Yeah.
maybe
Here's an idea. Let's just not have that stipulation in there.
if we're never
I mean,
gonna listen to that.
Yeah,
rule.
give him a weakness of some kind. But if we're not gonna, if we're gonna pretend like it's not there,
Well, see, the way to do it is he can walk on holy ground now because he has human souls, and humans aren't bound by those rules. But he's been doing it the whole movie.
yeah, you still have to talk about it though. It's still a thing you'd question.
Yeah. Well, you'd have to talk about it, but That's also a Danny Ketch thing. Danny Ketch turns to Ghost Rider when innocent blood is spilled in front of him. I don't know if this is how souls work. I mean, I'm not an expert, but
You're not an expert in souls.
But having other people's souls in you doesn't make that your soul. Like, even if you burned all of those people's souls, I feel like he'd still be fine. This is real silly.
Again,
I
unless
mean,
it's supposed to be symbiotic now.
Yeah, in this continuity, maybe he just can't detach himself from them.
Yeah.
Like, again, we're just not talking about what exactly is happening. So we don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
But the idea is, we are a legion, meaning now we're one entity, and I fuse myself together with all these things to create one entity.
And how did they do like a powered up mode and
don't
not
know.
just make him Blackheart from the comics because he's got a cool design? And he's kind of an interesting character that goes on interesting
Because
character
even when he
arc.
gets into the Legion plays, he's still really, say it with me, generic.
Yep. He's got a little bit of horns and some red eyes, and he's a little paler. Which was tough, because he started pale.
For dry, red, itchy eyes, get clear eyes. I can't get away from Ben Stein today. And I wish I'd been old enough in the 90s so I could have tried to win his money. That would have been great.
Thanks. This conversation also doesn't make sense. No.
I feel like you just came in here because it's the end of the movie. It's one of those movies where I'm constantly taken out because I feel like I'm watching people make a movie and not actually, in a reality.
You know what the big mistake the devil makes here is? Aside from making it in any way possible that you could just say no, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, is a comic book issue, kind
Okay.
of. But, so, he became the Ghost Rider, he did this one mission, and he's just now gotten the hang of being the Ghost Rider. So instead of having him, like, now that he knows, keep bounty hunting for him, he's just going to give it to somebody else who also has to learn how to use it. And he's going to take it from them. And then, like...
I think the deal
He's
is
never
that
done
he
a
finds this
confident Ghost
guy
Rider.
dangerous.
Oh.
Because he sees the writing on the wall that this is going to happen. That he's going to turn against him.
But yeah, why can't he just take it back from him?
I don't
Because
know.
a deal's a deal.
I mean, in the comics,
He signed a contract.
in the comics, it's a curse. And then it gets more complicated after that, but...
So it's supposed to be an eternal thing?
So yeah, I imagine so. Normally it is, and it would probably take both parties to cancel the deal.
Now, we are at least...
So he just wasn't smart about how you wrote up the contract.
And we are at least
I
consistent
think he
about it because
intended to
obviously...
keep him.
Right.
But after this mission, he's noticed that this guy gotten too dangerous for him.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you, be smart enough to preempt that? Why wouldn't you think that that's a thing that can happen?
And at any time, I can revoke your Ghost Rider ability.
Yeah, just put that in there.
But we are at least consistent about it because Carter Slade was able to turn against him and keep his powers. Which would make you think you would think about that with future contracts.
Yeah,
but
exactly. Yeah, because you've done that before.
he's not a smart devil.
He's not Malbolgia stupid?
No. But few devils are.
Because the devil, at least in this, sort of has a plan. Malbolgia's just stick spawn on Earth for a long time, let him walk around until he decides he wants to go against me.
Well, and we also know where in time he is.
Yeah, that's right.
He's now.
He's now. He's not somewhere in time.
So is he back in his hometown? Is that... Because he goes to that graveyard
It's
and
the
we're at
exact
the
same
tree.
shot. I'm pretty sure the camera move is the same. Maybe it's not. I think
But
we're
it's-
pulling back
It
and
looks
forth.
like the same tree.
Well, no. I know that's the same tree because it's got the thing. But he also went to the
We could've
grave where
carved it
his...
again.
Where his dad is
You guys
killed.
notice the seam right down the
Or,
middle?
no, his dad's killed. The grave where his dad is buried. So is the city he's in where he was when he was a kid? Does he come home at the beginning of this movie, or the middle of this movie.
Oh, maybe that's what it's supposed to be. And that's why she's there and then it's less contrived.
Yeah.
Okay. That must be what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this isn't how legends are born, but...
Wow, it was fun.
Yeah. I enjoyed myself. Screen story and screenplay by Mark Steven Johnson. I've never understood screen credits where it's story and screenplay when there's only one credit.
It just say written by you, done.
Yeah.
When you just assume if there's no other credits that there is, and there's no standard for credit writing.
There doesn't
You can
seem
do
to be.
anything you want to. There are certain rules.
David Goyer, executive producer.
There are certain rules about how some things, like certain people that have to be credited, and because of like the rules with the Writers Guild and stuff. Like typically, you're not supposed to have dual director credits, and you have to get special permission to do it. There's some things like that.
It depends.
But there's no standard for how it has to be written.
Yeah.
In the credits.
Yeah, the director thing is like 40% or something. I think you have to have directed at least 40% of the film. I think that's it.
And there have been times where directors, where it didn't happen that way, have gotten like special dispensation or something.
Mm. But then you also have things like Superman 2 where his name isn't in the credits at all.
Right.
Script writing's also really weird how if you introduce an element that makes it into the final script, you will get credited. Whether it is any relation to the script you wrote.
Yeah, and no matter how far away it is.
Yeah.
Just vaguely was part of that.
So yeah, before this movie gets
Which is why
made,
you have to take some of those credits with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we're real quick sometimes to go to certain credits as evidence for something that you can't be sure of.
Well, and it's also interesting when you follow the production of movies and you hear about all these different writers that come on, and then when you see the final movie, there was one writer credited. Godzilla's like that. Godzilla got Frank Darabont to come in and rewrite their script, but he clearly just punched up scenes and made them more dramatic. And I'm pretty sure he wrote the entire beginning, but he's clearly writing over someone else's basis. So whatever he did to that script was not enough to get him credited.
Interesting.
He's just punching it up.
Well, and that becomes almost tantamount to a ghost writer.
Mm-hmm. Like that 90s show?
I was gonna say this is not to be confused with the 90s show.
Where's that? Where's that dark reboot?
Your dark gritty reboot.
Dark gritty, inappropriately humored reboot of Ghost Rider.
Feels like the Ghost Rider movie you would have made in the mid 2000s.
So before this movie gets made, David Goyer writes a script for Ghost Rider, which is
that's probably why he still ends up with a producer credit because he's involved with it long enough.
It's kind of like Blade, where it kind of has nothing to do with the comics, but it's a little bit like the comics. Like Blade, even though Ghost Rider has more mythology and more history, he still approaches it the same way he approached Blade, where everything can be reinvented.
Yeah.
I've read the script years and years ago. I remember not hating it. It holds together better than this. But when they do the sequel, they get that script and they rewrite on top of that. So
interesting.
Goyer is actually credited in the sequel as a writer. And
that is going to be fascinating to go back to.
It's not as much Goyer as you would think. I mean, I read the script. I know how little of that script is in there, but
I'm kind of wondering. Well, I just mean in general, it's going to be really interesting to go back to that movie because I mean, there is a chance I end up liking it a little better. There's a chance. I talked to no one but you that likes it, but I've maybe talked to 2 people in total that have seen it. So that's a 50-50 thing at that point.
It's by Hell's Kitchen.
When I saw it, that's great. He went to them on name alone.
Yeah.
When I saw that movie, it was real late at night. It was 11 or midnight, and it was one of those times where, because it was the only showing I could get into, I had to wear 3D glasses, and you know me in 3D, and I can't see in 3D, and so I had to watch it with 30% reduced lighting.
Oh, and that's a dark movie.
Yeah, and I'm sure that hurt it for me a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean brightness. Yeah,
I have a story about seeing that movie in theaters that I will tell when we do that movie.
Cool. Yeah, I'll likely say the same thing I just said when we get there.
Crash McCreary.
At first I thought that said Crash McCreepy.
If you had that name, you'd never change it. If your first name was Crash.
Yeah.
Anything but Bandicoot, I'd keep it.
No, man, you gotta keep this Crash Bandicoot. Nia Wickramaskaran?
Wickramaskaran.
Just
nailed it.
Names. Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, I got it.
Yep, you got it. McDuff Knox. This is fun. We should do
Strut?
this more often.
Bowden Strut?
Bowden Strut.
I always do this through the credits, and you always make fun of me for making fun of people's
Xavier
names.
Velasquez. I said Quez. Well.
John Brown. Ha!
What a name.
Who named their kid John Brown?
What a weird name.
Christoph Inherderberg?
So,
You know,
what did you think of this movie? Seeing it again.
It was fun, but not good.
that's kind of how I describe it.
It's a fun movie to watch. And I remember when I saw this in theater, I didn't leave the theater hating it, but I didn't feel any need to ever see it again.
There was a song called Satan's
And yes, here you are.
Yet here I
Okay. Sure. Why not? So we're not going to have too many movies in between this and the next one. Because that would have been 2010.
Is it 2010? I feel like it's later.
10 or 11.
It's after the cinematic universe starts.
Well, I mean, that's 08.
Yeah, yeah.
That would have been the year after this.
Yeah, yeah, we
Yeah,
probably
it's
won't have
10 or
too many
11.
movies.
So it's only going to be 5, 6, 7 movies.
Yeah,
If that.
I'm excited.
So next time we got Spider-Man 3.
I'm not excited.
That's what we're doing tomorrow.
Can't we just skip to Ghost Rider 2?
I love that. I think there's a lot of people who would have a hard time making a choice between those two movies.
I don't
But not
have that.
you.
No.
Not Eric.
I think
You can watch Spider-Man 3 with us too?
I'm gonna
I don't know.
I'm gonna go out on
I've
a
only
limb
sat through once.
and say, barring the Blade films, specifically, obviously the first two, I might like that movie more than anything we've watched thus far. Well, no, X2, sorry. I'm dumb.
Wait, which movie were you saying before that?
Ghost Rider.
What?
No,
Yeah.
not this one.
You're just
The
I know.
sequel.
You're just trying to be sensationalist now.
No, it's better than, or I'm not gonna say it's better. I like it more than any of the Spider-Mans. I like it more than the
But the
Fantastic Fours.
Blades?
No, I'm saying excluding the Blades.
Oh, excuse, did you say that? I'm sorry. I missed that.
Yeah, excluding
I
the
missed that.
Blades and X2.
Yeah, okay.
I
all
might
right.
like it better than any movie we've watched so far.
I mean, I can maybe see that. I couldn't put it above Spider-Man,
I could.
but anyway.
I mean, I have nostalgia for Spider-Man, but I have way more fun watching Spirit of Vengeance.
Yeah, it's also just not my cup
Yeah,
of tea.
it's way more
not-
my cup of tea.
It's not remotely my thing. But anyway, well, everyone, thanks always for watching. We sure appreciate it. We'll see you again tomorrow for Spider-Man 3. So gear up, get ready. And in the meantime, I was Captain
It's hip.
Logan.
It's now and
It's
how.
now and how. We should get a board and just put up words like that.
Ted Raimi's in all three of those movies,
heck
but
is
going
on?
No one gives him credit for the fact that he's got one of the best jokes in that whole movie. Because he goes, it's hip, it's how and it's now or whatever. And he goes,
now and
this
how,
was my
yeah.
idea, this was Johnson's idea, he'd had a lot of sugar, and then this one's my idea. Like, it's great. It's great. That movie sucks, but it's great. It's ridiculous. Yep.
Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Sarah.
See you tomorrow.